please understand one thing. What's going on today has been going on for hundreds of years. There's an organization, we've all heard of, my dad worked for the FBI in the Counterintelligence Corps. He was best man at J.D. Salinger, who just died also. This is amazing. Ron Paul has legislation, well, he's trying to pass legislation, remember 1207, HR 1207, to audit the Federal Reserve? How many of you in here knew that the Federal Reserve is not a federal agency? Okay. Look how many did not, or do not. It's not. The Bank of England. Is that a private? Or is that a government bank? It's private. The Rothschilds started all the banking systems in the world. Rothschild was a bad guy. He had 5 sons. Isn't that lovely? 5 sons. And they all controlled every bank. And they're all central banks. Every economic downturn we've had in this country has been due to the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is printing our money and charging us interest on it. Why isn't the Treasury doing that? The Treasury, there'd be no interest on it. There's no, yeah, that's the fact. There's no oversight. No oversight, zero. The only 3 people that take on the Federal Reserve that you'll see on TV, that's great when you see it. There's no oversight, but they take them on. Google it. Ron Paul, who I greatly admire, who wants to audit the Federal Reserve, okay? You've got Bernie Sanders, the independent. Not a partisan thing here. Great guy. Always firing on him. Always. Greenspan, Bernanke. The third one, I love him, Dennis Kucinich. Always hammering. Those 3 people they're populist people. They give a darn. And they know what's going on. In Ron Paul's book, he shows you proof, diagrams. Every economic downturn we've had, they've done it purposely. When I say they, the wealthiest people in the world control it. There are about 126 of them. They're the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, they're princes and kings in Saudi Arabia. They've been doing it forever. And he shows you they're the puppeteers. And I hate to say this, President Obama doesn't have as much power as you think he does. George Bush, who I could not stand, had more power because his dad and his dad's dad and the great-grandfather, Prescott, and before him, were tied to the central bank system. And if you understand that, you'll understand that Russ Baker just released a book all about the family secrets. Oh, a must read. He shows you all this. It's beautiful to read and horrifying at the same time.
Thank you, Jim.
Please, thank you. Thanks. It's worth seeing. Yeah, thank you, yeah.
My husband's name is Fitzgerald.
Oh, really? Okay, there you go. Okay, well, that's good to hear. Pardon me? Well, thank you. And that explains a lot of stuff, but there's so much more.
I know a lot of what you're saying.
Yeah, well, I saw you nodding, and I saw a few other people, but you heard the majority of people, and I said, who believes the Federal Reserve is a federal agency? Only 6 hands went up. That's out of 30 people?
That's why they named it
Federal Reserve and the Bank of England. Yeah, isn't it fascinating?
Oh, I'm very
Worth
scared.
seeing.
You guys are,
It truly is worth seeing.
you are on fire.
Oh, I'm on. You know what? I've had a rough week though. I really, very rough. And my dad, if you knew him, you would love him. And we lost an amazing person. And he's so proud of what I'm doing, and he's so proud of what we're all trying to do. But it's really worth seeing.
I don't need more stuff in my
Oh, you don't know? Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Hey, thank you both though.
Absolutely, absolutely.
To a gentleman named Colonel Bob Bowman. Do you know who he is? He's the director of the Star Wars program. Under Carter and under Ford. He talked about we've never been told the entire story of the 9/11 events. So I started researching that. Okay. So I got a lot more information from military people who are actually corresponding with me and government officials. And they're all talking about the same type of stuff. We've been lied to on many accounts. You find out the guy that you look at the guy that ran the 9/11 commission. It wasn't Keenan Hamilton. They were the chair people. But the guy that was in charge was the director named Philip Zelikow. Well, Philip Zelikow wrote a book with Condoleezza Rice about how to get us in the Middle East for oil. It was going to take a cataclysmic event, just like the Peanut Doctrine, like Pearl Harbor. Piqued my interest even more. So I started corresponding with more military people that aren't in the news, by the way. I started looking at the news and finding out through the Huffington Post and through the Chronicle that we have 155 former military brass, literally generals, colonels, majors, who are lobbyists now for Raytheon and all these other weaponry builders as lobbyists, making tons of money, and they're supposed to be protecting our boys and girls abroad for this war on terror. That's a conflict of interest.
Do you think that that's 155
It's a lot.
is different than what it was 20 years ago?
Oh, yeah.
40 years ago?
I do, yeah, I do. And I think it's covered up more now, too. Even though we have the internet and everything else, I think it's covered up more. The corporations own our government now. And I don't have any people disputing me on that.
And how does your campaign challenge you?
As far as getting something changed on that, by people like me running and getting most of these incumbents out. When I say most, a great majority of them out of office, and get people in there like us who understand what's going on or are living the American nightmare right now. With the housing crisis, our pensions disappearing, 401k accounts disappearing, unemployment skyrocketing, and auditing the Federal Reserve to find out truly where our money's going. And why is the Federal Reserve printing our money and charging us interest if the Treasury could be doing it? And who controls the fund? Who actually controls the Federal Reserve? There's no oversight. And when they're challenged on that, which, you know, three people I admire very much, Ron Paul, Bernie Sanders, and Dennis Kucinich, they take them on all the time. And if you watch those hearings, you find out that nobody has oversight over them. It's almost like there's a shadow government, a cabal, somebody way up above, a group of people, very powerful men, are controlling the monetary system globally. And I ask why? Is that not on the news?